Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honor to the apostles, the elders, salutations to you, sincere brothers, teaching in truth and in sincerity. This lesson will be entitled, A Chief Thing for Life is Water. Lord, will you are edified. This article is entitled, Even a Little Lead in Drinking Water Can Harm People with Kidney Disease. Source, Health Day News, Friday, July 16th, 2021. No amount of lead in drinking water is safe for people with kidney disease, a new study warns. Low levels of lead in drinking water are widespread in the United States. These findings suggest that U.S. Environmental Protection Agency rules on allowable lead levels in drinking water pose a risk to the 30 million to 40 million Americans with kidney disease. While drinking water may seem uniformly healthy, low levels of lead contamination found in the majority of drinking water systems in the U.S. may have toxic effects for those with chronic kidney disease, said lead author Dr. John Danziger of Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston. The findings will appear in an upcoming issue of JASN. More rigorous efforts to improve the water system infrastructure may be needed to protect individuals from this unrecognized hazard, Daziger added. The study authors analyzed health data from nearly 600,000 people in the U.S. who began kidney dialysis between 2005 and 2017. They also examined EPA data on lead concentrations in community water systems in the 5 years before the patients started dialysis. The researchers focused on the potential effects of lead on levels of hemoglobin, the oxygen carrying protein in red blood cells that's affected by lead poisoning. Patients in cities with detectable levels of lead in their communities' water had significantly lower hemoglobin concentrations before starting dialysis and during the first month of dialysis. They also reached higher doses of medications to treat anemia, which occurs when red blood cells counts or hemoglobin levels are lower than normal. These associations occurred at levels. These associations occurred at lead levels below the EPA's lead drinking water threshold for regulatory action, according to the study. The study also found that black patients, so-called Negroes, who are from the tribe of Judah, Yahweh, according to biblical doctrine, were exposed to higher lead levels in drinking water than white patients, all right? So this is by design, all right? We don't supposed to have lead in our water, all right? Esau is attempting, all right, to kill us off. It's all about that birthright, okay? Also, according to www.epa.gov, adults exposed to lead can suffer from cardiovascular effects, increased blood pressure, and incidence of hypertension, decreased kidney function, reproductive problems in both men and women. Okay? He, it's like in Job 5 and 12, he, referring to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, disappoint the devices of the crafty. All right, the crafty is referring to the nobility of Edom. They control this entire system. And putting lead in our water source is a device of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. The enterprise is them attaining the new world order. And within this concept, all right, they are trying to depopulate the world. All right. They want to eliminate the nation of Israel because they want their birthright. And I'm referring to the nobility of Edom because they know. Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 13. And the Lord Yahweh said, even thus shall the sons of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles. And you can include water, okay, within the concept of defiled bread, all right? Because water is supposed to be clean, refreshing, okay? And the Lord Yahweh said, even thus shall the sons of Israel eat their defiled bread, including water, among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them, okay? Mark chapter 16 and verse 17. And these signs shall follow them that believe. And this is Yahushua speaking. In my name, the name is extremely important, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues, referring to the prophets, once they have been endued with the Holy Spirit, spiritual power, okay? Verse 18, they shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, hence lead in water, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. Okay? Who shall recover? The sick. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 29 and verse 21. The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame. So an important thing to have is water, bread, clothing, and shelter. And Esau is destroying / polluting our water supply because Esau knows that this is a chief thing of life. And everybody needs water to survive. So a form or a way to depopulate the world is poison the water supply. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, principle, something that is chief / important. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil, and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly. So to the sinners, they are turned into evil. Okay? Let's get 2 Samuel chapter 23. And verse 16. You know what? Let's start at verse 14. 2 Samuel 23 and 14. And David was then in an hold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And David longed and said, oh, that one would give me drink of the water of the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. Verse 16. And the three mighty men brake through the host of the Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, he would not drink thereof, but poured it out unto the Lord Yahweh. Verse 17. And he said, Be it far from me, O Lord Yahweh, that I should do this. Is not this the blood of the men that went in jeopardy of their lives? Therefore he would not drink it. These things did these three mighty men. But the point is how David longed to have that water from the well of Bethlehem. Okay, that water was clean, refreshing. Okay, it didn't have lead in it. All right. So, Lord will, you're edified. Shalom.